The Weight of Things, a room-by-room guide to reclaiming your space. Right now, as you're watching this, take a quick glance around whatever room you're in. I guarantee you'll spot at least 3 things that have been sitting in the exact same place for months, maybe even years. That stack of magazines you swear you'll read someday, those decorative items that stopped bringing you joy long ago, the broken gadget you keep meaning to fix. Here's the truth nobody talks about. These seemingly innocent objects are quietly stealing your peace, one forgotten corner at a time. If you've ever walked through your own home and felt like the walls were closing in, not because your space got smaller, but because every surface, every drawer, every corner has become a holding ground for things you neither use nor love, then this video is your lifeline. I'm about to share a gentle, room-by-room approach that will help you reclaim not just your physical space, but your mental clarity too. Before we dive in, if you've been feeling overwhelmed by the sheer volume of stuff in your life, hit that like button right now. It tells me you're ready for change. And if you want more practical, no-nonsense tips for simplifying your life after 60, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. Trust me, we're going on this journey together, and I'll be here every week with gentle guidance to help you live lighter.
When your sanctuary becomes storage. There's a moment in every homeowner's life when you pause in your doorway and realize something has shifted. Your cherished living space, the place meant to nurture and restore you, has gradually transformed into something else entirely. Not overnight, but slowly, imperceptibly, like watching your hair grow or seasons change. The transformation happens so subtly you barely notice. Yesterday's newspaper finds a temporary home on the coffee table. A sweater gets draped over the back of a chair just for now. That interesting article you clipped from a magazine gets tucked into a drawer for when I have time to read it properly. A collection of pens that barely work accumulates in the kitchen junk drawer because you never know when you might need them. None of these individual items screams for attention. They don't break anything or create immediate chaos. They simply exist, quietly claiming territory in your personal sanctuary. But here's what happens over months and years. These silent occupants begin to multiply and spread, like shadows lengthening at dusk. What makes this accumulation particularly insidious isn't the size of any single item. It's the mental weight they carry. Every time you pass that pile of unread magazines, a tiny voice whispers, "I should deal with those." When you see the broken picture frame on the mantel, you think, "I really need to fix that." These objects become visual reminders of undone tasks, unfulfilled intentions, and decisions postponed. The psychological impact compounds daily. Your home stops feeling like a retreat and starts feeling like a storage facility where you happen to sleep. You find yourself navigating around obstacles instead of moving freely through your own space. The phrase, "I'll deal with it later," becomes your daily mantra, but later somehow never arrives. You're not lazy, and you're certainly not clueless about organization. The problem isn't your character. It's the overwhelming nature of accumulated stuff that makes you freeze like a deer in headlights. When everything needs attention, nothing gets attention. When every surface holds something that requires a decision, decision-making becomes paralyzing. This comprehensive guide offers you something different, a gentle, methodical approach that breaks down the overwhelming into the manageable. We're not talking about dramatic weekend purges or minimalist extremes. Instead, we're focusing on 20 specific types of items, organized by room, that you can address one by one at your own pace. The goal isn't to create an empty, sterile environment. It's to curate a living space that truly serves your current life. Not the life you once lived, not the life you think you should be living, but the life you're actually living right now. Today.
The living room, your daily sanctuary. Let's begin our journey in the most visible and frequently used space in your home. Before you even stand up, take a moment to really observe your living room from where you're sitting. Notice how your eye travels around the space. What draws your attention first? What makes you feel peaceful, and what creates that subtle sense of visual noise? The living room holds a special place in our homes because it serves multiple functions. It's where you unwind after challenging days, where you welcome friends and family, where you enjoy quiet morning coffee or evening television. But it's also the room that attracts the most random accumulation because it's the most accessible and visible space. Start by examining the reading material scattered throughout the room. There's likely a collection of magazines you subscribe to with good intentions, newspapers you kept because of interesting articles, and perhaps last year's calendar that featured particularly beautiful photographs. These items represent your past interests and good intentions. But ask yourself honestly, when did you last pick up that 3-month-old magazine? If it's been sitting untouched for weeks, the information inside has likely become outdated, and your current interests have probably shifted. Move your attention to the textile elements in the room. Those decorative throw pillows that once looked plump and inviting may now be flat and wrinkled. The seasonal blanket draped over the armchair might be there from last winter, even though it's now midsummer. These items often remain in place not because they're actively enhancing your comfort, but because they've become part of the landscape, so familiar that you've stopped seeing them. Consider the decorative objects that occupy your shelves, side tables, and wall spaces. That ceramic figurine your neighbor gave you 5 years ago? The picture frame with the loose backing that's been tilted for months? Or the small painting that once matched your old color scheme but now feels out of place? These items might have sentimental value or represent past versions of your taste, but they're not contributing to your current sense of peace and beauty. Pay particular attention to the broken or non-functional items that have taken up permanent residence in your living room. The table lamp with the burned-out bulb that you keep meaning to replace, the wall clock that stopped working months ago, or the decorative bowl with the hairline crack that you thought you might someday repair. These items represent deferred maintenance that creates subtle psychological pressure every time you notice them. The decluttering process for your living room doesn't require dramatic changes or expensive replacements. Simply apply this gentle criterion to each item. Does this object currently serve a purpose in my daily life, and does it bring me genuine pleasure when I look at it? If the answer to both parts is no, you have your answer. Remember, the goal isn't to create a showroom or magazine-perfect space. It's to create a room that feels peaceful, functional, and truly yours. When you remove the excess, what remains becomes more meaningful and more beautiful. A tidy, thoughtfully arranged living room doesn't just look better, it actually changes how you feel when you enter the space each day.
The kitchen, heart of daily life. The kitchen deserves special attention because it's likely the hardest working room in your home. It's where your day begins with morning coffee, where you nourish yourself and loved ones, and often where you gather for conversations and connection. But kitchens are also notorious for accumulating just-in-case items and gadgets that promised convenience but delivered clutter instead. Begin with your spice collection, which tells the story of your culinary adventures over the years. That exotic spice blend you bought for a special recipe 3 years ago? The redundant containers of common seasonings purchased because you couldn't find the one you already had? And the herbs that have lost their color and potency but remain in the cabinet just in case. Spices and seasonings have expiration dates for good reasons. They lose flavor, nutritional value, and can even become unsafe over time. Be honest about what you actually use regularly versus what you keep out of habit. Next, tackle the gadget and tool situation. Over the years, you've likely accumulated multiple versions of similar items. Several wooden spoons when you only need 2. Multiple sets of measuring cups when one good set suffices. Or a collection of specialty tools for tasks you rarely perform. The key is to keep the highest quality, most frequently used version of each tool and release the duplicates. The plastic container situation deserves its own attention because it's a common source of kitchen frustration. How much time have you wasted searching for matching lids and bottoms? How many containers have you avoided using because they're stained, warped, or retain odors from previous use? Consider transitioning to a smaller number of glass containers that stack neatly, clean easily, and don't absorb odors or stains. Finally, let's address the elephant in the room, those small appliances that seemed like great ideas at the time. The bread maker you used enthusiastically for 2 months. The juicer that required so much cleanup you gave up using it. The specialty appliances that promised to revolutionize your cooking, but now occupy valuable counter or cabinet space while gathering dust. Here's a practical approach. If you haven't used an appliance in the past year, box it up and store it elsewhere. If you don't retrieve it within 3 months, you have your answer about whether you truly need it. Your kitchen doesn't need to be equipped for every possible culinary adventure. It needs to be equipped for the cooking you actually do.
The bedroom. Sanctuary for rest. Your bedroom should be the most peaceful space in your home, a sanctuary that promotes rest, intimacy, and restoration. Yet for many people, the bedroom becomes a default storage area for items that don't have obvious homes elsewhere. This accumulation can significantly impact your sleep quality and overall sense of well-being. Start with your clothing collection, which has likely evolved over years or decades. Your closet probably contains clothes from different life phases, different body sizes, and different style preferences. There might be professional clothes from a career you've left behind, formal wear for events you no longer attend, or clothes you're keeping for when they come back in style. The turned hanger method offers a gentle way to identify what you actually wear versus what you think you wear. Turn all hangers backward at the beginning of a season. Each time you wear an item, hang it back normally. After 3 to 6 months, the items still on backward hangers reveal what you haven't touched. This visual method is more accurate than memory and less emotionally charged than trying to make decisions while handling each garment. Bedding and linens deserve careful consideration because they directly impact your daily comfort. Those sheets that have become thin and rough with age, the blankets that have lost their warmth, or the pillowcases that no longer feel soft against your skin are working against your comfort every single night. Quality sleep is too important to compromise for the sake of using things up or avoiding waste. Jewelry collections often include pieces that represent different life chapters. Gifts from relationships, inherited items, costume jewelry from past decades, or broken pieces you intended to repair. Lay everything out and honestly assess what you currently wear and enjoy. Broken jewelry that's been waiting months or years for repair probably isn't as important to you as you once thought. Look around your bedroom for furniture that's serving as storage rather than function. That chair that's perpetually covered with clothes you've worn but aren't quite ready to wash. The nightstand drawer filled with items you never access. Or the dresser top that's become a catch-all for random objects. These areas create visual chaos that can interfere with the peaceful atmosphere essential for quality rest. The bathroom. Daily essentials only. Despite being the smallest room in most homes, bathrooms have a remarkable capacity for accumulation. This happens because we tend to hold on to products we've tried but didn't love, medications we no longer need, and beauty items we purchased with optimistic intentions but rarely use. Start with medications and health-related items, which require special attention for safety reasons. Expired medications aren't just ineffective, they can be dangerous. Many people hesitate to dispose of medications because they seem too valuable to waste. But keeping expired or unused medications creates both safety risks and clutter. Most pharmacies and many community centers host medication disposal events where you can safely dispose of these items. Personal care products and cosmetics have limited lifespans once opened, though we often ignore these timelines. That moisturizer you tried once and forgot, the shampoo that didn't work with your hair type, or the makeup colors that seemed perfect in the store but never looked right on you, these items are occupying valuable space while providing no benefit. If you haven't reached for a product in 6 months, you're unlikely to start using it regularly now. Towels and washcloths serve you daily and deserve to be soft, absorbent, and pleasant to use. Those towels that have become thin and rough, or washcloths that no longer feel good against your skin, are creating minor daily discomforts. Keep 2 to 3 sets of towels that feel good to use and repurpose or donate the rest. Cleaning supplies can accumulate into a confusing array of specialized products for different tasks. Multiple glass cleaners, various floor products, and specialty cleaners for surfaces you rarely clean create more complexity than necessary. A few versatile, effective products will handle most cleaning needs more efficiently than a cabinet full of specialized options.
The hidden spaces, confronting deferred decisions. Every home has those spaces you avoid opening. Storage closets, attic corners, spare room cabinets, or boxes pushed under beds. These areas become repositories for items you couldn't decide about in the moment, things you thought you might need someday, and possessions connected to memories you're not ready to process. These hidden spaces often contain similar categories of items: outdated electronics and their associated cords and chargers, memory-laden items like photos and letters, extra linens and clothing saved just in case, and items you once thought you might repair, repurpose, or need again. Approaching these areas requires a different strategy because the emotional weight is often heavier than the physical weight. Instead of attempting to tackle everything at once, commit to opening one box or one section per week. Set a time limit of 30 to 45 minutes to prevent overwhelm and decision fatigue. Create 3 categories as you sort: items still needed and in good condition, items no longer useful but emotionally meaningful, and items that are broken, outdated, or forgotten. For the meaningful items, consider taking photographs to preserve the memory while releasing the physical object. This approach honors the sentiment while reducing the storage burden. The transformation, living lighter. As you work through each room, each drawer, each forgotten corner, you're doing more than organizing objects. You're making conscious choices about what deserves space in your current life. You're releasing the weight of deferred decisions and unused possessions. Most importantly, you're creating space, both physical and mental, for what truly matters to you now. This process isn't about achieving perfection or creating a minimalist showcase. It's about curating an environment that supports your current lifestyle, reflects your current preferences, and eliminates the daily friction caused by excess possessions. The changes you make will compound over time. A clearer kitchen makes meal preparation more enjoyable. A peaceful bedroom promotes better sleep. An organized living room becomes a true retreat. Storage areas that contain only meaningful, useful items stop creating anxiety when you need to find something. Start small, be patient with yourself, and remember that every single item you release makes space for something better. Whether that's physical space, mental clarity, or simply the peace that comes from living intentionally. Your home should serve you, not the other way around. When you lighten your physical environment, you lighten your mental load as well. The energy you've been spending managing, avoiding, and thinking about excess possessions becomes available for what truly brings you joy and fulfillment. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear about your own decluttering journey in the comments below. Share one item you're ready to let go of today. It could be that stack of magazines, those worn towels, or the gadget that's been gathering dust. Sometimes naming it publicly gives us the gentle push we need to finally take action. And if you found this helpful, please give this video a like and share it with someone who might need this message.
We're building a community of people who choose intentional living over accumulation, and your share helps more people find their way to a lighter, more peaceful home. Don't forget to subscribe for weekly tips on simplifying life after 60. We're here to support each other in creating homes and lives that truly serve us. Until next time, take care of yourself and your space.